uncovering the secrets of ancient Egyptian tombs. Ancient Egypt's funerary architecture was incredibly advanced and often breathtakingly elaborate. Most tombs consisted of two main parts: the burial chamber, the actual tomb, and the mortuary temple, where offerings could be presented to the deceased. In royal burials, the temple quickly evolved into a separate funerary temple, which, beginning in the New Kingdom, was typically built independently and at some distance from the tomb. In the following discussion, separately built funerary temples will be covered as temples in general and not as part of the funerary complex. From mastabas to pyramids. Mastabas were the standard type of tomb in the early dynastic period. These rectangular superstructures with flat roofs had sides, initially constructed of mud brick and later of stone, in the form of niched walls covered with white painted plaster and decorated with intricate matte patterns. They were built over multiple storage rooms, equipped with food and equipment for the deceased, who lay in a rectangular burial chamber underground. The arrangements and groupings of non-royal burials point to fluctuations in non-royal expectations of the afterlife. In the Third Dynasty at Saqqara, the most important private tombs lay at some distance from the pyramids of Djoser and Sekhemkhet. Their large mastabas incorporated recesses and passages that could accommodate panels of afterlife equipment and alcoves to hold sculptures of the deceased owner. Later in the Old Kingdom, the interior space within mastabas grew more complex as it accommodated more burials. In the mastaba of Mereruka, Vizier Tetedi, first king of the Sixth Dynasty, there were 21 rooms for funerary purposes, 6 for his wife and 5 for his son. The Step Pyramid of Djoser, a monumental leap. The tomb of Djoser, second king of the Third Dynasty, began as a mastaba and was gradually enlarged to become a stepped pyramid. It was built within a vast enclosure at a commanding site at Saqqara, the necropolis overlooking the city of Memphis. The great royal official Imhotep is credited with the design and the decision to use quarried stone. This first essay in stone is remarkable for its design of 6 superimposed stages of diminishing size. It also has a massive enclosure, 1,784 by 909 feet, 544 by 277 meters, surrounded by a wall faced with fine limestone and containing a series of dummy buildings, stone walls filled with rubble, gravel, or sand that may represent structures associated with the archaic shrines of pre-dynastic Egypt. In the Djoser complex, Egyptian stoneworkers made their first architectural innovations, using stone to reproduce forms of pre-dynastic wood and mud brick buildings. The columns in the entrance colonnade resemble bundles of reeds, while the engaged columns in other areas of the precinct have capitals resembling papyrus blossoms. In parts of the subterranean complexes, the king's bas-reliefs and elaborate wall panels of glazed tiles are among the innovations found in this magnificent monument. The pyramids of Giza, engineering marvels. For the Old Kingdom, the most characteristic form of tomb construction was the true pyramid, and the most marvelous examples are the pyramids of Giza, Al-Jazar, especially the Great Pyramid of King Khufu of the Fourth Dynasty. The form itself reached maturity in the reign of Khufu's father, Snefru, who built 3 pyramids, one of which is known as the Bent Pyramid because of its double slope. Only later did the Pyramid of Khafra, Khufu's successor, approach the size and perfection of the Great Pyramid. The bare measurements of the Great Pyramid adequately suggest its scale, impact, and precision. Its sides are 755.43 feet, 230.26 meters north, 756.08 feet, 230.45 meters south, 755.88 feet, 230.39 meters east, and 755.77 feet, 230.36 meters west. Its orientation on the cardinal points is almost exact. Its height when completed was 481.4 feet, 146.7 meters and it covers an area at the base of just over 13 acres, 5.3 hectares. The core is formed of massive blocks of limestone, which were covered with a casing of dressed limestone. Other features contribute significantly to its remarkable character. The narrow-sided Grand Gallery and the King's Chamber, built entirely of granite with 5 relieving chambers, empty rooms to reduce pressure. Later pyramids and the rise of rock-cut tombs. The pyramids built for later Old Kingdom and most Middle Kingdom rulers were relatively smaller and not as well constructed. However, the tomb of King Mentuhotep II of the 11th dynasty is of exceptional interest. Its basic components were a rectangular structure, stepped porticos, a series of pillared ambulatory clinics, an open court, and a pillared hall cut into the cliffs. The very prominence of the pyramid not only made it a potent symbol of royal power, but also made it an obvious target for tomb robbers. During the New Kingdom, the desire to halt the plundering and desecration of royal tombs led to their being grouped together in a remote valley at Thebes, dominated by a peak that resembled a pyramid in itself. There, in the Valley of the Kings, the tombs were carved deep into the limestone with no exterior structure. Such rock-cut tombs had been built for commoners as early as the 4th dynasty. Most were fairly simple single chambers, serving all the functions of the multiple rooms of a mastaba. Some, however, were excavated with considerable architectural pretensions. The huge halls at ASW, often linked to form maze-like complexes, were in part formal, with carefully hewn columns cut from the rock and in part dug out. What should be the topic of our next video? If you enjoyed this story about my life, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment.